strange guys show up bringing presents. And he's like, what the fuck? It's supposed to be God. Not these guys.
Yeah.
God was feeling kind of horny. And so he saw this 12 to 14-year-old, and he was like, I'm implanting my seed in that.
I want to hear the dirty version of the Nativity story, because I've ignored it my whole life. The only version I know is the strict biblical version, and it's our retarded Bible. So, give me the dirtiest version of the story you can.
Okay, so NotJah, so here you go. Here you go,
the Lord joke here.
So NotJah, here's the dirty Christmas story. So God had his chosen people for about 2,000 years, and he was like, I totally fucked up with these fucking people. And so he saw this girl as she was walking home, and he was like, hey, she's dressed kind of hot. I'm going to go and talk to her. And so he went and talked to her, and he's like, I'm going to put my baby in your belly. And the girl was like, do I have a choice? And he was like, not really. And so he put the baby in the belly, and then she went to her husband and was like, hey, God impregnated me. And he was like, you fucking whore. And she's like, no, really, it was God. And so he left her, and he goes out, and then this angel's like, no, she wasn't a fucking whore. She really was impregnated by God. And so he went back to her and was like, okay, it was God because I heard it from an angel. And then there was this light that appeared, because what the fuck do we know about cosmology? And a star appeared over Bethlehem, which would have a gravitational pull that would have killed everyone on Earth. But no, we're not going to talk about that. So anyway, this star appeared, and these three, it doesn't say three wise men, it says wise men. So 3 is a good number. We'll go with 3. So these 3 wise men start walking their way from the east because they saw this star, and they were like, hey, this star means that a king's going to be born, which means they were astrologers, which some reason the Bible has an issue with. But they start walking towards Jerusalem or Bethlehem, and they get to Bethlehem, and the king's there is like, hey, what are you doing? And they're like, we're here to crown a king. And they're like, the king's like, but you don't have any authority here because you're from the Orient. And they're like, hey, we're doing it. Fuck you, we're doing it. And the king's like, well, I want to praise this kid. I want to praise this kid. And the wise men were like, hey, this king is going to kill these people. And so they go and they meet the baby, and the one wise man gives the baby frankincense, and the other wise man gives the baby myrrh, and the third wise man is a fucking asshole because he goes against the $5 limit rule and gives him gold. and so then the wise men leave, and the wise men go a different way out of the country, and the king's like, holy fuck, I didn't see the wise men again. And so he's like, you know what, we're killing every male child from the age of 2 to 0 because that's how we equate things that just happened. And so they go through and they kill all these babies, but guess what? An angel told them to go to Egypt. So they go to Egypt so that they come out of Egypt, so that could fulfill a different prophecy that wasn't fulfilled by the birth, because they had to really fix that. And so they come out of Egypt, they come back, and then we're 12 years later. And the baby is now a boy, and he's talking in a church, and the parents go walking away because they're fucking horrible parents. And they're like, hey, where's our kid? And they're like, wait, you mean the kid that's the son of God? Yeah, that kid. Oh, he's at the temple. So then they go to the temple, and Jesus is there, and he's preaching to the people, and the people there are like, what's going on? This kid's not supposed to be talking to us about this shit. And his parents shows up and is like, what the fuck are you doing, Jesus? And Jesus is like, fuck you, Mom and Dad. You're not my real parents, except for Mary. You're kind of halfway, but you're not my real parent, Joseph. And he's like,
my dad.
Hey, your dad is absent. Your dad is absent. He hasn't provided you at all. He's not paying child support. I'm the one that's been here for you. And Jesus is like, fuck you, Joseph. I never want to be, fuck you. And they're like, oh, that's not cool. And so Jesus goes off with them finally after he kicks and screams. And then we're like 20 years later. And Jesus is the Son of God that just, yes, that's it. And then he dies.
Yeah.
You know what I think that there should be a story where a bunch of archaeologists go looking for Jesus's afterbirth, the holy placenta. They should be looking for.
Well, Kate, that's what the actual Holy Grail is.
I have one. You need to add two things into that story that you forgot. You missed two things. One, you forgot. If we're going dirty, you forgot to mention that Mary and Joseph, at the time of the birth, had asses play. Not to mention Mary rode an ass all the way up there, so you got that. And then you forgot to mention that Jesus, after being born, to hide Jesus from King Herod, got shoved right back up at Mary for about another 10 years. You forgot about the census bit.
They punted Jesus across the border. He's the Son of God. He's not going to die.
No.
Across the border.
No, they shoved him. They took him and shoved him back in Mary so that way Mary could give birth again 10 years later.
Good Lord.
Remember that? Yeah.
Can you imagine being Joseph whenever the wise men showed up, though?
It's it's because King.
Which one of y'all are the actual dad?
Yeah. What the fuck?
Strange guys show up bringing presents, and he's like, "What the fuck? It's supposed to be God, not these guys."
Yeah.